Welcome to Ready Set Reiki, a podcast about Reiki, the universal energy life force, from the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, and all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready Set Reiki journey, we refer to ourselves as guides rather than hosts, as we too are traveling, supporting, and learning on this Reiki journey as well. And with that said, I am your first guide, Tracy Searight.
And I'm your second guide, Millie Pampina.
And today, a magical guest that we have today, her name is Bola Bimbola. She is an author of the Daily Soul Bites book, an energy practitioner, life coach, and founder of Soul Space Healing. With her BSc in psychology degree, certification in trauma recovery coaching, she created the SMIT Emotional Mastery System to help others transform anxiety into emotional freedoms and for you to navigate life from a place of inner calm. Welcome, Bola, to Ready, Set, Reiki.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Millie. Thanks for having me on your show. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. So we're going to start. I gave our listeners just a little bit about you, but tell us about yourself.
Yes, I'm based in London, UK. I'm also a mother. I have two sons, 27 and 26 now. Yes, I think you said most of it, really. I do also run an Akashic record sessions. I do run Akashic record sessions here in London. And I'm also an official host of Adyashanti gatherings here in London. Adyashanti is a spiritual teacher based in the US. And we tend to hold meetings every month to just have inner inquiry, contemplation, and getting deeper awareness, growing in deeper awareness with our inner sense of being. This is my passion. My passion is really around emotional freedom, because as much as we can do our spiritual practice, we also have to work with our emotions. And I found, this has been my own experience, that, I was very curious about, higher self and lower self from a very young age, from about 2 years old. I started as a child. I could barely talk. You see, I came from, I was born in Nigeria. My father was a barrister, was also a stutterer, but he had learned to breathe and calm himself. So he could argue, he could talk. So he taught me from a very young age, from about 2, 3, to calm myself, to take a breath, to pause and take my time. And he would say to me, if you have something to say, take your time to say it. Whoever is not there, whoever walks away, was never meant to hear what you had to say. So from a very young age, I had that guidance. I did not know I was pausing to go into my inner being. I did not know that every time I paused and took a breath before I spoke, I was touching base with that self within me. So that was a very interesting synchronicity to be born into that family. And my mother was a librarian. And so there were bookshelves in every room in the house. And when I turned 18, I found a book on the shelf by Ramana Maharishi, who I did not know at the time. My mother stocked this book. She would bring the books from all over the world into the home. And the title of that book was Who Am I? And it taught me about, well, it sowed a seed, because I did not understand what I was reading, but it sowed a seed about higher self and the physical ego self. And I read that at the age of 18. So I was pausing into this higher self. And then at the age of 18, I was reading about this higher self. So my journey has been about understanding myself and understanding human nature. And when I trained up in Reiki in 2018, that's when I really felt this spirit within me, the spirit being that we are. This is when I felt that energy, but it's been a journey. It's been a journey. And yes, so there's a lot more I can say, but yes, that's just a bit of a summary.
Beautiful. I mean, what a beautiful gift that your father gave you. It's a lifelong gift, isn't it?
Yeah,
Amazing. And then
synchronicity.
to have, yeah,
Yeah,
to
he
have a
passed
mother
when I
that,
was 11. You see, I didn't really value it until he passed because because he kept prompting me every time I tried to rush into speaking. And when he passed, I stopped pausing and only started again decades later. So but it was there. These are seeds that are sown um, in childhood that are not coincidences. And I always say from when we are children to when we grow up, there is a synchronicity in our journey that helps us to understand our purpose, the themes we've come to explore in this lifetime. So yes, I love I love listening to people's stories and the synchronicities and everything. If when we come to understand it and understand our purpose, it is so powerful. And when we're honest about who we are, ups and downs, there's no, it's not all about love, it's abuse, there's trauma, you know, but there is an authenticity that we can come to hold when we understand those themes and understand all the different synchronicities that have led us to be who we are. Mm.
beautiful, beautiful. So you had mentioned in 2018 about Reiki. So when did Reiki come into your
2016,
life? 20, all right,
2016,
2016. All right,
2016, actually.
2016.
Yeah.
And so with that, did you find Reiki or did Reiki find you?
Yes, Reiki found me. My younger brother had been doing Reiki. I have a son who has special needs, is diagnosed with autism and severe learning difficulties. So I had tried so many different types of treatment, but he wasn't, which was, they were having an impact on him, but he couldn't sleep at night. And the medication that was recommended for him wasn't really helping him to sleep throughout the night. And sleep is so important. It's one of the top three human needs. So my brother said to me, Reiki will help him. And because we were raised Christians, and that's always a kind of a challenge because you have all these rules and sets that do not allow you to be open-minded about all the different opportunities around you that can provide you with freedom because this is about being open-minded and having the modality around us that we can lean towards. So he did not push me into it. He kept mentioning it. And I have to say that I turned to it out of desperation. And the very first night he received distance Reiki, she didn't even have to come to the house. She sent it and he slept right through the night. And I began to access Reiki for him, but I did not train up in it until years later. But yes, I definitely I was sold. I was sold into it, as a
Right,
mother, as a
right,
mother looking for some kind of relief for her son. But
right.
yeah, yes.
And look where this journey has taken you.
Yeah,
Amazing, right? From
it
that one
is.
suggestion of that brother, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Synchronicity, synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Yeah,
Well, you
yeah.
mentioned about your background in religion. What do you think is a common misperception about your work?
Yes, I think it's that thing about, there is a lot of conditioning, you see, that maintains a particular system, and that system is quite hard to break. Um, that conditioning is quite hard to break. So there is a misconception that Reiki is not divine, and I have come to understand that Reiki is just scalar energy. There are two different types of energy. There are only two energy. According to Nikola Tesla and James Maxwell, there are only two types of energy in existence. There's electromagnetic energy and there's scalar energy. Electromagnetic energy is the energy in our microwave, in our phones. A lot of negative impact on our health. The other type of energy is the scalar energy, energy from the stars, from nature, from the sun. This is Reiki. This is energy healing. We do not have enough people, and we may think we're a lot, but we Reiki and scalar energy believers are not that many in this 8 billion population. We still have so many people who need to be sold on that power, the essence of infinite divine energy, the love, because this is what Reiki energy is. It's just love. The love that we can tap into and align to, that allows us to remember who we are, heals us, heals every aspect of our lives. There's a misconception that it is not that, because people have been conditioned in that. So yes, that is what I would say is something that is still prevalent.
Right. Yeah, and not taking the time to really learn about it, because it has that same concept of what Jesus's purposes was on earth, right? Love.
Yeah. Yes.
Spread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So as you are on your journey, you're connecting with other practitioners, doing your work. What do you think is something that everybody in your industry should stop doing?
In the spiritual industry, this is spiritual practice. I would say I am a spiritual entrepreneur, and there's something about spiritual bypassing. Energy healing is different from emotional healing, and sometimes we bypass emotional healing and we focus on the spiritual healing alone. This is the energy healing aspect. Reiki will only allow us to receive what we allow. What we Reiki will only give us what we allow. If we are not able to um, release some of the emotional imprints that we have, we will not give ourselves permission to receive what Reiki can give to us, what scalar energy, what infinite love can give to us. We need to learn to mix both. We need to learn to mix the energy healing with the emotional healing. That for me is key. It's for at the moment, I think it's still on, it's like the one is on one side of the fence and the other is on another side of the fence. And when you focus on one, it's bypassing, is emotional bypassing. When you focus on the other, it's spiritual bypassing. And we do need to come to realize that it's not one or the other, it's one and the other. I think, our energy healing needs to go hand in hand. In order for us to really be emotionally free, because I define emotional freedom as the ability to express our range of emotions, anger, fear, anger, sadness, joy, in a healthy way, without regret, without guilt, without shame, for our best outcomes. We can express anger, we can express um, our anxiety, but in a healthy way, for our best outcomes, for highest good. But we have to combine energy healing with our emotional healing. This is what I do in my work in the Smith Emotional Master System. I combine both. I had to learn to combine both, because otherwise you are an energy healer and you do not have that emotional freedom to be able to lead your clients into a place where they're actually functioning at their true self, their best self, from a place of true knowing, beyond self-esteem, beyond um, a place of true self, true worth. um, so yes, I think that combination is what I really believe in.
Well, thank you for sharing that. So our next question is, what do you wish your younger self knew about your current profession?
That she was on the right track all along.
I love it.
I wish I had known. I wouldn't have diverted to all the different things I did. But then I think it was meant to be, because then when you get to that place, um, there's no going back, because you've traveled so many journeys, and then when you now feel in your right spot, which is where I feel I am right now. I mean, there's still ups and downs, but you kind of know, oh yes, I've worn that t-shirt, I've been there. Nope, not going back. I
Yeah.
mean, now I do Reiki every day now, so it's not even something that I can go back on. But that connection to higher self, that spiritual journey, which started when I was pausing, I wish I had known. And I could tell my younger self then, well done. You were on the right track from
Yes.
get-go. Yeah.
Right. It's amazing when you kind of veer off the path, somehow you direct right back to where you're supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow, yes. If you're lucky. Because sometimes it depends on the theme we've come to explore, I think. And I don't think there's any right or wrong. I think the path can be a path of shadow, because I believe some people have come to explore shadow
Yes.
in a lifetime. I don't, they may explore light in another lifetime, or they've done it before, but I always just stay on my own lane
Mhm.
and know that I have come to explore light in its diversity. Yeah.
Right. Right. I always tell people, like, you think of Wizard of Oz on the yellow brick road, and when she would veer off, went to
Yeah.
dark places, right? And coming back
Yes.
to the Emerald City, right?
Yes. Yes. That's it.
And had the
That
power all along, right?
it's always there. It's within us.
Right.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. So when it's time for you to get spiritual work or a spiritual tune up, what do you look for in a spiritual worker or practitioner?
I go with my gut, with my instincts. More my intuition, a sense of knowing the energy. They need to have, I always go for a book or a website. I look at the reviews, but it's mostly my intuition. I feel the energy because, as you know, our aura carries information. Even the website has a code. Any information about us, whatever we write, whatever contains information about us, carries our energy code, carries our frequency, and that frequency announces us, even if we're not there physically. So just the energy is enough for me to feel whether this is right or not. And that's all I need, because we can, even the reviews, someone may give a bad review, but if I feel that they will be right for me, I definitely I've come to learn to trust my intuition, my inner knowing. It takes honesty.
It does. It does. And that is a skill, right? To really trust it. Trust what you're
You
feeling.
journey.
It is a
Yes,
journey.
yes, to actually develop that trust of oneself. That self where trusting is the higher self.
Right.
Develop an understanding of it. And that's something I talk about in my book, the empowering perspectives, the empowering frequency of the higher self. It really is something that we can become very familiar with, really familiar. And then we know when that is what is being activated in a line. So yes, once I feel it, yep, that's the one for me.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And I run with it.
Love it. Love it. So what advice would you give someone who is just entering this profession?
Um, yeah, go with how you're guided. Go with how you're guided and take your time and do the emotional healing. The emotional healing is key. Um, and I definitely did not realize how much emotional healing I would require. Um, because you can Reiki will flow anyway. Reiki energy, once we are attuned, it will flow. It only needs an intention. It only needs an ask. It's there for the asking. Beautiful. Um, but we ourselves can begin to enjoy a lot more of it as practitioners when we allow that energy to flow in any area of our life. Because as we know, Reiki will go into our car. Reiki will go into our children, our cousins, our mothers or fathers. Reiki will go into any area of our lives as long as we allow, and the intentions that we're holding, because intentions are frequencies of an intention such as I am good is of a lower frequency than an intention such as I am the best I've ever been. Intentions have frequencies. So, and then asking your clients to give themselves permission to receive the healing, because they are the ones that do give, they are the ones that are allowing this to take place. So I always do that. I always ask my clients, hold your intention and give yourself permission to receive this. Whatever it is you want to change in your life, there needs to be clarity. If your client is a little bit confused or overwhelmed, just to help them to get some clarity around what it is they want, what it is they want to change, what it is they're given permission to receive, and then let Reiki do the rest. Because we are only guides, as you said,
Mhm.
we are not the ones doing the healing. We are only
Right,
there to allow the healing to come through and allow their own energy meridians to be activated
right.
so that they can begin to align more and more to that life force. That is who they are, to remember who they are. So emotional healing is key.
Beautiful. And, with us as individuals, we all have an inner teacher in us, even though we don't feel that we do. And we listen to that inner teacher. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Right.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, yes. 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 Oh yes,
Yeah.
that's intuition. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen and accept the healing if that's what resonates with you. And if it doesn't, Reiki respects that free will. And
Oh
I'll,
yeah. Gosh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It
It
is
is what
what
it
it is.
is.
And it is as it needs to be.
Needs
It
to
is
be.
as it needs to be. Yeah.
Needs to be. So, the next question is, what books do you recommend?
Yes, well, it depends on what we want to get clarity on.
Mhm.
There are so many different books. If it's about trauma recovery, I always say Bezel van der Klerk, who wrote Body Keeps Score. That is a
Mm,
really powerful book
yes.
for emotional healing. Um, for me, most of my reading is always around the higher self, the lower self, kind of non-duality. So I would say Ramana Maharashi, Who Am I, is a very good place to begin. Eckhart Tolle as well is really good. The Power of Now is really powerful. It kind of helps you to stay present, to understand that space consciousness and object consciousness. I remember reading about them and say, oh yeah, the aha moments. So Eckhart Tolle is always good. And then my book as well, I would say my book, Daily Soul
Of
Bites,
course, of
is
course.
also a good book because it's also about aligning to that perspective, that higher self perspective, building familiarity with it. Um, and yes, those books, and I think any book that Eckhart Tolle writes is always a good book in my, as far as I'm concerned. Um, and Iyala Vasanti wrote, I read her book yesterday, I cried. Again, that is another book that, because I did suffer childhood sexual abuse. So if, anyone who has gone through some kind of abuse, see, for me, emotional healing is key. So emotional healing as well as the spiritual practice. But books are really about what our interest lies in. I'm usually around nonfiction. I watch fiction, but I read nonfiction.
I love it.
So yes.
Wonderful. And would you be so kind to share a little bit of your book with us?
Yes, I'd love to read. I'd love to read a section of my book. It's this is compassion, a section on compassion. There are 31 nuggets in this book and insights, and they share perspectives of a higher self. These are empowering perspectives, and they also share the conditioning that the physical ego holds. So bits of the higher self, bits of the physical self in 31 different areas of life. And it's really about building familiarity for us to be activated. That's why it's called BYTES, BYTES. They're actually activation. It came to me, it was a download. So this is compassion, the soul bite on compassion. The act of softening to give ourselves compassion must be learned. When something unexpected happens and we have been triggered to react in fear, it is often not possible to be rational in that heat of the moment. We would often struggle to pause, to hold the belief that we are safe, loved, and can have our peace. It is sometimes only in reflection after the event that we can remember our empowering beliefs and come to cherish them. When we can choose to reflect, to say to ourselves, what happens to me back there? Or how did it happen that way? Or how can I get through it? To ask and truly be open, honest with the answers that come to us. It is this reflection that grows our self-awareness and compassion for ourselves and for life. Reflection allows us to examine what that particular experience was meant to give to us along our way for our growth, expansion. It is this reflection with kind compassion practiced again and again that softens us and allows us to really receive the gift of each experience for living our best self every day. So that's the chapter on compassion from my book, Daily Soul Bites.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Will this be on Audible? Because I just love listening to your voice with it.
It is coming out on Audible in February, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get one. Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. How beautiful. Beautiful. So our
Thank
next
you.
question is what other modalities do you offer?
Yes, I'm also a trauma recovery coach. So I deal with trauma recovery, understanding the imprints, first of all, understanding how much trauma my client has been through in childhood, because sometimes we forget, and we have to forget in order to survive, and that is okay. But in order to really be free, we have to remember it and we have to become compassionate with that little inner child. So trauma recovery is key. And then I also use cognitive behavior therapy from my psychology training. And this is about understanding the beliefs that we hold, whether they're limiting or whether they're empowering. Because sometimes we don't realize that the beliefs that we hold is what is creating the reality that we have. So cognitive behavior therapy helps us to develop new habits, new behaviors. And I also have quite a lot of different modalities. But those are the two key modalities that I use. It's about intention, it's about mindfulness, and energy healing. Energy healing is a transmutation aspect because SMIT is standing for SMITT, self-awareness, mindfulness, integration, trauma care, and then transmutation. So those are the kind of 5 different aspects of the 8-week program.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, where can we find you? If somebody's listening, they are inspired, their instinct is saying you, you are the one. Where can we find you?
The best place is my website, www.soulspacehealing.com. I'm also on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. But my website, www.soulspacehealing.com, is the best place to find me.
Beautiful. And you're going to help people navigate life from your place of an inner calm, right?
Yes, I think that's really key. That's really key. Um, because from that place we can see the reflection of calm outside of us. It's not like there is no war, but you don't dwell on it because it's not directly linked to us. If we have somebody who is away at war, it's a different thing. If we are finding ourselves triggered by things happening not directly related to us, we do need to consider how to release those attachments in order to really be emotionally free.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Thank you, Bola. This has been wonderful and enlightening. And this ends our journey together. And I'm going to hand you over to my co-guide, Millie Pampina, that you can begin the journey together as she has 3 social media questions for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much.
So Bola, I just couldn't take my eyes off of you the entire interview. What an inspiring story. You came from a loving environment with a strong, parental guidance that, helped you learn how to inwardly look at your communications and be kind with others and kind with yourself with respect to that. You changed your journey as you were moving and growing, and then you found yourself with a special needs child, which is a lifetime commitment. And I just really enjoyed hearing that and what brought you to Reiki. Thank goodness you have some support from your sibling, and that
Yes.
you're
Oh,
moving
yes.
you're moving on with that. That's frequently we don't have that. And that gives you such a great way to be able to step back over and over and look at what you're doing and work to continue down that path. And I really appreciate hearing that. So we have the 3 social media questions, and we get these from our listening and viewing audience. And Tracy takes them and she boils them down to, what seems to be the most appropriate and top 3. And the first we have for you is, what has surprised you the most about your healing work journey?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Millie. Thank you for saying that, first of all the things you just said. Yes, I do appreciate that I have family support and that they support my energy healing because it's not always that way. Um, and also there is understanding of the fact that, because as a single parent, you don't always have that support. There's understanding of the needs of my son, and there's no blame, there's no shame, there's nothing of that sort. There's love. Um, and maybe they just know I will not take anything less. I'm not sure which came first.
I see that in you. And I was, like I said, I couldn't tear my eyes away. I was like, what's next? What's next? I got this. This feels
You
great.
better be coming correct or don't come at all. Yes, what has surprised me the most? I think it's what I said about the healing, the emotional healing. Um, that is so key because I do interact a lot with a number of spiritual entrepreneurs, and we tend to separate it. And I think it's so important to have that trauma recovery, emotional healing go hand in hand with
Mhm.
with energy healing and spiritual healing. Um, because if it doesn't, we have to continue to go deeper into that self-realization, that move away from, because energy healing our attunement to Reiki is only allowing us to tap and to tap into that universal love, to remember it. Then it's about how we use it to shift through that hold, the dominant hold that the physical ego self has. That work still has to be done. The affirmations still have to be held. The intentions still have to be held. The habits still have to be changed. Um, the you know the that we still have to discipline ourselves. We still have to release the trauma. We still have to let go of the imposter syndrome. We still have to let go of trauma imprints. All that work in order for us to really allow the Reiki energy, the life force to embody it 100%. And we never embody it completely. I think until we pass from this lifetime, it's a journey. I think it's because we're talking lifetimes. We're talking lifetimes. I've come to find out that I've actually lived thousands and thousands of lifetimes. Um, and each lifetime had a different theme, a different trauma, a different challenge, and some joys as well. So it's important to stay on track with that. I am still doing I still have a coach. I have a coach. I have an inner child healing coach that I work with every single month, you know. So it's we still have to invest in our own selves as because yes, energy healing is effortless. It's really beautiful, but whatever we allow is what will happen, is what we can receive. So I think that would be what I would say is what I have discovered, in this profession. That emotional healing aspect is so critical. It has to go hand in hand with us as energy practitioners.
I really appreciate your emphasis on marrying those two, because we really try as Reiki practitioners, well, at least I know in my practice and Tracy's, to help people to understand that we're bringing them tools, we're bringing them the ability, the commitment to healing, and accepting the process is within them, and that's really sometimes not completely accepted, and sometimes it is. So
Mm,
you enjoy your what you might think of as at least a somebody who's moving forward and sharing their blessing and graces with others, and others who are going to continue to search out what's going to work for them on their journey. So thank you so much. Okay. The second question I have is, how often do you do self-treatments on yourself?
every day,
Good.
every single day. If I miss a day, I might get away with it. If
Mhm.
I miss 3 days, chaos descends.
I see.
It's as simple as that.
Beautiful. Good. That's that's another challenge that I see practitioners facing is folks, they don't practice. They just think it's a one and done. And, we run across that frequently. And thank you for emphasizing that as well for yourself. That's something that you're doing for you. And, with all that you have on your plate and all that you had in your past lives coming forward, and still seeking out, you know, healing for things like your inner child and those things. That's really critical, and I'm glad to hear that, and I
I'll
hope I'm
tell you what I do. As
not.
soon as I wake up, because there's a lot of astral traveling that I do. As soon as I wake up and just before I open my eyes, I do five, even if it's 5 seconds. 5 seconds of Reiki. And then later on in the day, I can do 20 minutes. But as soon as I wake up, just connecting to Reiki, just for 5 seconds. And that is all you need. That is all you need.
Yeah.
It's that permission for Reiki to take control of the day. And you're surrendering yourself to the day. That's it. Because when we think we need an hour, we need 30 minutes, that's when we don't do it. And I used to be like that. But I realized that all I needed was that 5 seconds.
Beautiful.
And it's about the intention of just surrendering. And then I also remember what is most important to me that day that I wanted Reiki to take charge of. It could be my son's hospital appointment. It could be my own business. It could be something I'm doing. It could be a meeting that I have. It could be a contract. I just hold it in my head, and it is absolutely key. 5 seconds is all you need.
Mm-hmm.
Even a second, maybe a second will do, I'm sure.
Well, I I love that you're saying that, simply, Bola, because I always would say it to myself, 1 minute is better than no minutes. So you certainly have, I speak in terms of myself. You certainly have the ability to make that happen. It's strictly on me. And, when I started in Reiki, I began to realize, because I was a client for years and years and years, and I said, no, I would love to take this further. And, the practice, the self-treatment, and those things were on me. Nobody could make that happen but myself. So again, 1 minute's better than no minutes, and I really appreciate that insight. So our third question is, what has been the most challenging issue for you to overcome in your energy work journey?
Challenging. Actually, I was born to do this. I honestly have not found it a challenge at all. Life became easy with it, I have to say.
Beautiful.
The most challenging thing in my life is being a parent of a child with special needs. That has kept me on my toes.
Mhm.
Because it broke up my marriage, because it was just, well, it showed up the cracks that were already there. Because I think, if the cracks had not been there, we wouldn't have, falling apart. But no, as far as my energy practice is concerned, it brought me sanity.
Wonderful.
I think I was born to do this. That's and I've been pausing into it for all my life.
Mhm.
But I didn't actually start practicing as an entrepreneur until 7 years ago or so.
Mhm.
But it is something that has made my life much, much easier. My goodness.
Beautiful.
I can't go. It's my biggest modality.
Mhm.
It is my core modality. If I have a client who doesn't want energy healing, I can't help you.
Mhm.
I can't help you, because that for me is it. This is the spiritual being that we are.
Yes.
When we connect with that spiritual being and we allow that spiritual being to permeate through everything in our life, this physical density, there's no challenge for me. So I'm not sure challenge. I don't know. But
No.
life does lots of ups and downs. But I don't think I think when we're going up and down, we are still going up, because we're learning as we're going up and down. And and the down is not as bad as it was last time. because we've learned something. So ups and downs are never the same. And I think we can learn to um, still see the meaning behind the meaning behind the down, and know that we are inclining ourselves towards light. Because you can be in therapy for years and not incline yourself towards light. I could be doing trauma recovery and it's endless. You can be in trauma because this inner child healing is endless.
Mhm.
And it's not inner child, it's inner children. I thought I healed this inner child last month.
You have
And you thought,
authority.
where is this, where is this new inner child coming from? I thought I did that inner child healing stuff. So it's inner children. There's so many inner children within us.
Mhm.
So that stuff is endless. But
Beautiful.
energy healing is so effortless. And that just gives us that freedom, that emotional freedom.
Mm.
When we combine it with our inner child healing, it makes it easier. So for me, there is no challenge in the least. And I say this from the bottom of my heart. There's no challenge in the least in energy healing for me. But with my trauma, it's endless. The trauma healing is just ongoing. Just when you think you've sorted out this inner child, another child pops up with one other thing to deal with. So that's, I think I'm probably going to be doing it in the next lifetime, to be honest, if I come back.
Oh, that's a great answer. Thank you so much. I'm just enjoying this. Um, and that's the end of our social media questions. Is there anything else, Bola, that during our discussions that might have triggered in your mind that you hadn't brought up that you'd like to bring up now?
Actually, no. I've talked about my book. My book is really what I'm keen to promote this year. I have another book that's coming out, and this will be about my experiences as a parent, and how, transforming the challenges that I had as a parent, and enabling love in all areas of my life, so that my son is now a trainee sous chef. After, he did, he has done good. He has done good. And it's such a wonderful, wonderful place. So my first son is a training sous chef, and my younger son, I've just got the two boys, is a medical doctor. So, both of them are doing so well. And I want to write about that journey. And the part that energy healing played, that would be really interesting. So look out for that. Everybody look out. That's coming. I'm excited about that.
I am too. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, well, what I like to do now is I wrap up my portion with my small tagline, which is to see beauty in all things is a choice. Please choose wisely. And I thank you so much for joining us today. It's been enjoyable. I'm Millie Pampina from Feather Sister Wellness. I'm one of your co-guides on this journey with Reiki for Ready Set Reiki. And I'm going to turn this back over to Tracy Searight.
Thank you, Millie. And thank you again, Bola. So enlightening and interesting that I'm going to navigate life from my place of inner calm. So that is the message I'm going to take away from today. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for having me. And thank you, Millie, as well. It has been such a pleasure being here and talking about, I've not done an interview around energy healing before, so this is beautiful. Thank you
Wonderful.
so much.
Thank you. And if you have a question for one of our guests, you can reach out to us at www.readysetreiki.com or check out our social media. We also have an online service, Feather Sister Wellness, where you can not only get yoga classes, meditation classes, and Reiki classes, and we offer a variety of Reiki trainings as well. So check that out. So my name is Tracy Searight, and this has been Ready Set Reiki.